Welcome to day 60 of the 300 Movie Challenge. Today we watched the highest grossing film of May 1999, which was Star Wars The Phantom Menace.
So interesting little background on this. I've seen all movies at
As of right now.
well, yeah. Um,
Yeah.
this just for reference, The Last Jedi came out fairly recently. So I've seen that once. Rogue One and Force Awakens I've seen 3 times, and the other 6 I don't even know how many times I've seen them. So I've seen them a ton, but these two had not seen any of them until like two and a
Couple
half months
months
ago.
ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
two and a half
about
months
2.5
ago,
months ago.
and I basically made them watch the original trilogy. So they've seen that once, and that's it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Again, I've seen all the movies multiple times. I've seen the entire Clone Wars show twice, which is like 120 episodes.
Oh my god.
And I've been watching Rebels. Again, as of right now, we're like in the middle of season 4, so we'll see where that goes and all that kind of stuff. So again, I know this stuff pretty well, and I have my own specific opinions about this and all this kind of stuff. But I want to hear from these unfiltered eyes that you should have what you thought of the Phantom Menace.
So basically raw reactions.
Yes.
Yeah, raw reactions.
I have an opening statement. Baby Anakin is now my son. He is so cute.
Oh, he's so adorable.
He's
though.
so
He's so cute. His little baby face and everything.
I will say, like, people lost it over him because they're like, he's acting is so bad and he ruins Anakin's like presence or whatever. And it's like, first of all, he's a fucking child. Like, he's not gonna be intimidating no matter what, right? And it's like he's not a very good actor, but like, first of all, like, most people in this movie aren't a very good actor, at least in this. But second of all, it's like he's not that bad, honestly.
No.
Yeah.
He's just kind of like lame child, but like he's not like ruining stuff.
I mean, he's kind of
But-
what you would expect a child.
Yeah, because
Oh.
he's like, what, like 9 or 10
He's
or
10
something?
canonically,
Yeah.
Okay.
at the time.
And yeah. But he's just so adorable, and his like poker face during the race was like,
He was the most chill 10-year-old I have ever seen.
no, like I definitely was not that chill when playing Mario Kart when I was like 10.
I'm not chill
No.
playing Mario Kart now.
Yeah, exactly. Especially blindfolded Mario Kart.
Oh yeah, that's the story for another
Yeah,
time.
maybe when we get to a certain car genre.
Ah.
Please. Yeah, but it's so cute.
I wish he stayed like this, like forever. But of course he doesn't, because we need Luke and Leia to be born.
But we didn't see them as children. Imagine
No.
how that would have been.
Oh my god.
It would be so cute.
Okay, I guess speaking of them as being born eventually.
Oh god.
Oh god, I did not expect Padme to be so old.
Yeah, like I knew about the fact that they had like a large age difference, but I guess it never really exactly hit until I saw it for myself.
I guess the problem is that she doesn't look like she's 14. She looks
Yeah.
like she's like
Yeah.
18.
That's definitely the problem, because again, in terms of canon, right now they're 14, and when they hook up, it's like 10 or so years later. So like the ages seem to fit at that point, right? It just doesn't work now because again, she doesn't look 14. If anything, honestly, I feel like Anakin looks a little bit younger than 10.
Yeah.
But yeah,
He looks
so
like
it's
he's like 8.
yeah, so he looks
Something
8
like
and she
that.
looks 18. So it's like kind of weird.
Oh.
Like especially the moment where she's like, you know, I won't stop caring for you. It's like, oh, a little weird.
Cringy.
Especially too because he's like 10 supposedly and everything, and it's just like you don't necessarily.
I don't think he understands those kinds of feelings yet.
No, yeah,
I highly doubt it.
yeah.
I mean, considering the only other person he's like had positive interactions with are like his mom, I would expect him to maybe
Well,
look
no,
at.
there were those two friends.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, he
that's
had
true.
a few friends.
Female interaction.
Yeah,
Mm.
so
That's his mom. So I would have expected him to maybe be like, "Oh yeah, you're kind of like a big sister or like a
Yeah.
another mom." Because of like how much he missed his mom when like he had to leave. And then she came and was like, "Do you miss your mom?" And he's like, "Yeah."
I will say probably like the best interaction was between him and his mom throughout
Yeah,
the entire movie.
I really liked their interaction. It was really, really sad when he had to leave her.
yeah, his mom's a decent actor in terms of what she has to do. I mean, she's not given too much to work with, but she's not like super awkward or anything. So yeah,
Yeah.
she works.
Yeah.
That said, going back to the romance thing, their dialogue was atrocious.
Yeah, that does not improve. Does not
Right.
improve.
Great.
Oh god.
Many memes will be witnessed.
I guess now I'll know where some of them come from.
Yes.
Oh my god. It just made it even worse, because at least if the dialogue like worked out, then you could be like, okay, maybe I can possibly see that there might be some romantic interest later down the line. But no, the first thing he says is, "Are you an angel that landed?" It's like,
I love just how matter of fact he says it too. Like, "Are you an angel?" It's like, I love how he just looks at it like, "Huh?" It's just like that. It's like the actress herself was like couldn't believe like, wait, really? That's the line? Okay.
I'm surprised she didn't like start laughing immediately.
probably did the
Well,
first 3 times.
There's a moment actually later in episode 3 where it's supposed to be like a serious line, but there's like a thing where the guy, it's a line that Obi-Wan says, and the guy playing him like can't say it with a straight face. He like kept cracking up, and so how the scene is shot is like he has like kind of his like hand like where his mouth is. It's supposed to be kind of like in contemplation or whatever. But really, he was doing it just to like hide that he was trying not to laugh while he was saying the line. But I'll point that out when we get to that.
Oh my god. And then there's the elephant in the room that we have to discuss.
Mm-hmm.
Jar Jar Binks.
Binks.
Yep.
I wanted to give him a chance. I always heard that he was like the worst character. I always heard that like he like kind of ruins moments and stuff. I wanted to give him a chance, but he dashed that within 2 minutes of him being on screen.
Just his introduction dashed that whole scenario of me trying to.
I feel like I don't hate him like as much, and I don't really know why.
Maybe it's because you watched the movie so many times, you just kind of
Probably, I'm
became
just like,
numb.
yeah. I mean, again, he's definitely not a good character, and you know, he's really pointless. But I don't know. Like for some reason, he doesn't bother me like as much as he does everyone else. I don't know. It's probably just because I'm used to it. And
think
again,
you're
I
just
watched
used
a
to
lot.
it.
You know, I watched these movies. I didn't watch them like when they first came out. I wasn't for. I don't know. But I definitely
I
like.
mean, I guess you were too small.
Yeah, because again,
Yeah.
I would have been like almost 5 when this first movie came out. But definitely, I believe I first started watching Star Wars movies very shortly after Revenge of the Sith came out, which was 2005. So, yeah,
Yeah, that
I
makes
was like
sense.
10, 11-ish at the time when I started watching this. So still, you know, I don't know. Whatever, but yeah, he's not a good character. But yeah, as I've said before, he has like 5 lines in episode 2, and I don't think he says a single word in episode 3. So
Praise.
yeah, that's the one good thing that they managed to learn from their mistakes
Yeah.
and change.
Thank goodness.
Alright, so we kind of discussed this in the beginning and everything, but the beginning of the movie was very confusing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they kind of just drop you in the beginning and you have no background information whatsoever as to what is going on.
Yeah.
Okay, this is kind of the plot as I understand it. So you have the trade people, and they like invade Padme's planet, and they like hold it hostage.
Mhm.
So then she has to leave for some reason with like Obi-Wan and how do you say his name?
Qui-Gon.
Qui-Gon?
Yeah.
Qui-Gon. So they leave, and then they like pick up Anakin after he like wins his freedom. And then they go to like a council meeting, and they override the old senator guy to put
Chancellor?
the chancellor, and then to put like Palpatine in place. And then they go back home, and they like throw the trade people out, I guess.
Yeah, it's... The setup is like... Well, there is no setup, basically. It's just like, here, movie, and you're like, oh, okay. And then again, it's like, there doesn't seem to be a point.
No.
It's...
It
Yeah. It's...
I feel like you could rewrite it in a way where you could have the relevant scenes be there, like the whole Anakin introduction and Palpatine, but overall it doesn't really feel as if you get much out of it.
Yeah, and especially, like, honestly, you don't need the Palpatine stuff. It's like, what, he could have just been the Chancellor already.
Yeah.
And, yeah, the whole thing with... Well, I feel like if I were to redo this movie, and, you know, in terms of the plot, and I definitely haven't had enough time to really flesh this out, but I would have Anakin as, like, 15 or something, and he would already be, like, a Jedi Padawan, right? And kind of go from there, and maybe he, like... Maybe kind of have a similar plot with the
same actor and everything.
Yeah,
too.
so they could use the same actor as the other two movies, and also, then they could kind of have the Darth Maul stuff still, but maybe like a different setting or something, and then have it so that like maybe like Qui-Gon dies, but then Obi-Wan would die, but Anakin saves them. Or something. So that kind of actually elevates him into being like, oh, maybe he's special, instead of just randomly like, I know he's special because he's a virgin birth for some reason, which is stupid.
Yeah, because that was just...
So that's stupid. And then the whole, also the whole like midi-chlorian thing is stupid as well, but whatever.
Yeah.
So that would kind of deal with that, and you know.
Because I feel like the whole way of how they introduced him, and then how they introduced all the other characters, you don't really care much about them, and I feel like you could rewrite it and make it so much more interesting with how like backstories could go and everything.
Yeah.
But they kind of just made it seem more like, okay, we're gonna go to this planet for a random rest stop. Oh, okay, we found this kid. Oh, there's a sandstorm. Okay, so now we have to be friends with this kid instead of...
Yeah.
And that is the basis of how they meet Anakin Skywalker, aka Darth Vader. But if the sandstorm didn't happen, Darth Vader would have just been a normal guy.
A normal, happy, well, maybe not happy slave on Tatooine
Yeah.
with his mom.
He was happy at the... because he was like an engineer or something.
I mean, he was happy enough for a kid in his circumstances.
And he would have been with his mommy.
Yeah. Best relationship in the entire movie.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, well, it's because she actually felt like a real person.
Yeah.
Everyone else was pretty, like... Especially... So, okay, like, Anakin's not given the greatest things to say, and he's not, like, a great actor. I don't think he's, like, as bad as people say, but whatever.
He's cute, though.
And...
Yeah.
But, like, a lot of... Especially, like, Padme is, like, really awkward.
She's very stiff.
She's very stiff.
Okay, speaking of Padme, on a completely random note, she had like 6 different outfit changes.
Oh,
yeah, I don't really know what the deal with that is. That just is a thing for some reason.
I guess to flaunt the budget. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh.
It was dumb. It's kind of strange, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean.
Sorry, continue.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, Obi-Wan's okay, but like he hasn't really given much to say. So
Yeah, I was surprised.
yeah,
Yeah, I thought he would have more.
it was mostly on Qui-Gon, he's okay. Just again, not super interesting.
Yeah.
I guess like the thing between him and Obi-Wan is that they don't really seem like a mentor and a student because they seem very distant.
Yeah.
At least I felt that way.
I also didn't really feel much for when he died. I was just like, oh, okay, he died.
Well, part of it's because like you kind of assume he's going to, because it's like, you know, he seems like an important character. He's not in the original movies. I wonder why. You know what I mean? So yeah. And again, he's not bad. He's just not that interesting. So you don't really care. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of, if anything, like that's kind of how I feel about the movie in general. Like it's not bad. It's just you don't really care for a lot of it.
Yeah.
The one exception, of course, being the fight with Darth Maul at the end, which is fantastic.
Oh yeah.
It was really well done.
It was really well coordinated.
Like from beginning to end.
Yeah, especially like in comparison to the fights like in the original movies, which are like not that interesting, honestly. At least in terms of like the actual fighting, right? There's some interesting like dialogue and conflict in it, but like the actual fighting is not super interesting. So that's nice. And I will say that the Darth Maul fight is the best fight in this series. There are some fairly close ones behind it, but I think that is the most impressive fight. The music helps with that actually quite a lot because the music in that part's really good.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Music.
I just wish he was given a bigger part.
Yeah, he does. That's it. He's gone. Never see him in any movie.
I always thought he had like a bigger role just from how people like reference.
Cool.
Yeah, he's not dead. Because he comes back in the Clone Wars show, and he's also in the Rebels show. But yeah, he's gone from all the movies, never shows up again. And it's the fact that, because again he's like cut in half, so you're like, how does that work? They basically like kind of retconned it so that like he wasn't like cut in half, it was just like his legs were cut off. So it's like you can kind of live without that, right? And so there's a whole thing that happens, and I'm not going to go into it. But he does come back, and what's really interesting is that he actually like has a character to him in the shows. So he's actually like a super interesting character. And even though at first I was like, they're bringing him back, that sounds kind of lame. But like what they do with him is really interesting. But in both shows, because it's actually different between the two shows in a sense. Although there is kind of an over-connecting thing. But anyway. And also they don't like have a huge focus on him. Let's see, he's comes back in 2 episodes of season 4 of the Clone Wars, and then he's in 4 episodes of season 5, and that's it actually of the Clone Wars. He's only in 6 episodes. And Rebels, he shows up at the end of season 2, and he's in a scattering of episodes in season 3. Not a ton, I can't remember. But again, in total over the 2 shows, he's in like at least 10, at most 15 episodes. So like that's not a ton, right? But so it's not like they're just using him to just be like, oh look, we have Darth Maul, ooh fancy, right? But what they do with him is really interesting, and that's kind of a shame because again, like in the movies, like what did he say? Like 10 words? Like
probably.
So it's just kind of like,
in comparison, Jar Jar Binks had like entire scenes dedicated to him.
Yeah.
Speaking.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that was a waste.
Yeah, the writing in this movie is bad for 2 reasons. One is just the actual like words that people say is bad.
Yeah.
But the other reason it's bad is because it like focuses on totally the wrong things.
Yeah.
Right? It focuses on Jar Jar being stupid when it could have talked about Darth Maul. It could have actually like given us a reason to care about the plot.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, why are you, and
it
like
could have been a better plot.
Yeah, like for example, the pod racing scene, right? That's not a terrible scene. It does look kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
But there really isn't a lot of a point to it.
Mhm.
And
No,
it's like, you
because
spend
you're
all
just
this
like in
time.
the background. You're just like, but what about the planet?
Yeah, what about the plot, right? So
Yeah.
it's kind of like, why are you focusing on this? I mean, yeah, it looks kind of cool, but so
Well, detour.
yeah, it's kind of strange. I don't hate it. I don't think the movie's terrible. Some people like absolutely hate this, but I don't think it's terrible. It's just not. It's not good for sure, and it's not that interesting. Which, if anything, is almost worse than bad. Well, it's on
Yeah.
some kinds of bad, but anyway. It's not my least favorite of the movies. I will say that. But yeah, so that's something at least. I don't know. I kind of
We'll
I kind of want to
eventually
say like a
see.
bunch more, but I also don't. So I don't know. It's probably just keep it down.
I guess like one more thing. People always said the effects were really bad, but I didn't think it was like worse than it should have been.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
especially in comparison to what else we've seen
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah. I will defend the effects of the prequels. I will defend those. I do not understand people being like, "Oh, but they look so fake" or whatever, and it's like, well, okay, first of all, that's not it doesn't mean that like the original trilogy everything looked real. It didn't.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. It doesn't mean it's not impressive, but it just didn't for a lot of it. It looked like models and that kind of stuff for a good number of scenes. There's one scene in particular, actually, it's a very, very brief shot during the original Death Star battle that looks like super fake, and it's like a really quick scene, but it's like really distracting to me because I always like notice like, wow, that looks really fake. But anyway, so
Oh, didn't realize
yeah, I know.
that.
I don't know. It just bugs me. But anyway, so that's one thing. So it's like that's kind of a dumb argument. But even then, like, it really doesn't look that bad. It doesn't. Like, and
Yeah.
especially what they do with it. It's like, how would you do this practically, right? Like,
You can't.
You know, the
No.
droid army and that kind of stuff, or like the landscapes, right? Like those are really
Yeah.
impressive looking landscapes. A lot of them, and it's just like,
Especially the underwater kingdom and everything.
Ooh, that was really nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really pretty.
so that's one thing that's really nice. Because if you think back to again the original trilogy, like the worlds aren't super interesting. I feel like.
They're pretty barren.
Yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
them are barren, or they're also just kind of standard, right? Like Tatooine,
Yeah.
desert, Hoth, ice, you know, Yavin 4 jungle. Woo, like it's not, you know, I don't know. And I know that's kind of a trope, and that will continue for future movies as well. But you know, especially in terms of just stuff happening and interesting things to look at, this is better.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, it's granted, it's not that important, but it's something, and I think people just kind of don't give too much credit for that. So I will defend the effects, at least for the prequels. I will not defend the writing, I will not defend the directing, and I won't really defend the acting. But I will defend the effects. So that's something. I will defend the effects, and I will defend the last, like, the climax, basically, because that's with Darth Maul. Because that's good. And
Yeah.
the main reason why, again, this is not my least favorite is because my least favorite doesn't have, like, that kind of awesome moment to save it. And also, I would say that my least favorite is the problems of the least favorite are more central. The problems for this were kind of like you just didn't really care, and a lot of the side stuff was dumb, right? The problems for my least favorite is like one of the two main plots just doesn't work.
Okay.
That's great.
That's a problem.
It's always a wonderful thing.
and the other of the two plots is just like okay, so it's like, you know what I mean? It doesn't balance it out. So but we'll get to that. We're not there yet. It's okay. You're spared for some time. Not that much though, because actually we're actually coming back into this fairly soon, because Attack of the Clones was released in 2002, but it was actually not the highest grossing film of its month. The
Something
original,
else
yeah, I looked it up.
beat it.
The original Spider-Man movie from 2002 actually beat it. So
It'll be a small spoiler, but
yeah, I mean, we will be watching it sooner. Actually, we will be watching it. We're not just gonna skip it because that's stupid. But we are going to be watching it. We're actually going to be watching it again, like kind of in place of something like we did for the
Oh yeah,
Captain
Captain
America,
Iron Man.
Yeah.
and also Born Identity. So
Right.
we will be watching it in place of something else, and it will be actually pretty soon. If anything, that is kind of awkward though, because we'll have like a pretty big gap between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. Even though, like, in terms of the story, there's actually like a 10-year gap between Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, but only a 3-year gap between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. But whatever. So yeah, it's how things work. So too bad. But we will be coming back to this fairly soon. So yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else to mention for this wonderful escapade into the realm of war?
The prequel.
I will just mention that there were a bunch of technical difficulties.
Yes.
Should we list them now, just for the fact that we don't have like sword treatment for them to enjoy?
Well, let me put it this way: we started all of this
What was it like?
almost 5 hours ago.
Yeah. And it took us just 4 hours just to watch the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We started in terms of, well, okay, no, we did some stuff before. That's right, that's not fair.
Yeah.
So I'll say about 4 hours. So
Okay.
it took us about 4 hours both to watch the movie and also record this, because there was a problem with that too. So yeah, it's kind of like, why is this the movie that like we can't do? It's really just annoying. But we did it.
Why couldn't it have been a different movie?
Yeah.
So if things sound a little bit strange after a
Disjointed.
certain point.
Yeah. Basically, like, half of the recording, well, more than half of the recording we did originally, it didn't record for some
2/3 was
reason.
lost, so
Yeah,
we kind
so
of
we tried to kind of throw
scramble.
this together. But anyway, hopefully you got the gist of it. I think we all agree that it's just kind of forgettable and meh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's something, but woohoo.
We got through the first.
No, no,
we're as well put together as the actual movie was.
Oh. Oh.
Alright, with that, I'm going to bed.
Okay, fair enough.
Good night.
Oh, good night.